Welcome to the Metamart Spoiler Extravaganza. We're going to spoil 3 cards here today. I'll be one of your spoilers, Tiny Grimes, and I'm joined today by...
By me, I'm Hans. Dr. Ho is my stream name. We are all from the Metamart team, and we will show you some pretty nice cards today.
So I'm Visig. This is my first kind of appearance with the Metamart.
All right, let's get into the cards. So the first card is Meta Transfer. Looks like we have an Aloyan spell here that both affects the board and allows you to basically level 2 cards with 1 card. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's a pretty cool card. I really like the artwork. It's a very nice, cute cat shrinking there, and it has a pretty nice effect. If you guys have been drafting a lot, you will know there is it's pretty reasonable to have like spells in your deck that affect stats the Electronet. I mean, it's not a very high pick, but you are happy to have it in the deck, and sometimes just the right situation comes up, and you Electronet something for pretty good value, more than you would expect. And this card basically does nearly the same thing, and at the same time, you get to level a card, and that is huge. So I really like it.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. To me, you kind of compare it to Technosmith, where Technosmith allows you to level an extra card, and it leaves behind a 2/2 body or an 8/8 body or a 15/15 in level 3. So what this card will allow you to do is it's not uncommon in draft or even in constructed for your opponent to play a creature to try and trade 1 for 1. So this is going to allow you to leave behind a body that might be bigger than Technosmith's stats, and still get that card.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys have said. It feels like it could be a pretty strong card for draft. I'm a little bit more concerned with constructed, and I can't quite tell if it's going to be good in constructed. I look at this in combination with something like Zrath's Will, which could allow you to play this card, level a card, play Zrath's Will to remove the card that you just reduced, and still get a creature out of it, leveling 4 cards on your turn, and essentially allowing you to sort of speed level your deck. Now, this might be completely unviable, but it's just one idea I have where maybe we could make it work in constructed, but I don't think we'll really know until we start to see the other cards and the meta to know if it's good in constructed, but I would agree it seems like it will be pickable in draft for sure.
Yeah, definitely going to be okay in draft, and yeah, they're probably like the leveling cards. They will add up over time. We will see more in this new expansion, and then over time there will be like so many leveling cards, and it will add up. You have so many options to level, so many cards in your deck. So this is going to be one of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, let's take a look at our next card. So we now have Glacial Crush, which is another spell. And this is an interesting card because it just hits defenders, but it's not level gated, and it's free on level 2 and 3. And whenever I see the words free on a spell, I at least give it a serious look. What do you guys think? Is free going to be enough to make you either pick this or play it in constructed?
I think this card is absolutely viable and constructed in some kind of a Stasis Warden deck. There are also other cards that have been previewed from the new set that give your opponent's cards defender. So I was actually excited in the original spoiler. They kind of hinted to a level 1 spell that could kill a level 3 creature. So this is obviously that card, and I think it's definitely playable.
Yeah, I agree. It is. If you if you start casting this for free, it's going to be ridiculous. So and there is at least one creature right now heavily played and constructed that ends up as a defender on at least your opponent's turn. So you guys might be able to figure that one out. And that is that is huge. That is huge. Like if you can just kill level 3 gargoyle with this level 1 glacier crush, it's gonna be ridiculous. So but I mean, more or less, like probably people will adjust. Like if you see a glacier crush, you will stop playing your gargoyles. But that is already awesome. Like if you can force your opponent to not play your gargoyles anymore, it's ridiculous. It's already ridiculously powerful already. So that is pretty cool. And then probably there's some more potential. Like there seems to be some new theme building up for Tempest of giving stuff Defender. And there were already other cards for other factions already. And so yeah, that is going to be a thing probably. Like you can at least try to build something cool there that is abusing giving Defender already, and then you get lots of value from the Glacial Crush.
Yeah, I think I don't think I would play this as a 3 of unless I was playing it in some sort of Stasis Warden deck or something like that. But just having one of these floating in a Tempest deck, especially if Gargoyles are still a big part of the meta, or any other creature that thrives on Defender, like say Mr. Big Stuff. You know, you got to have an answer to Mr. Big Stuff. So any card like this that just completely wrecks another popular card under leveled. That's always the key for me. It's not, you're always going to have cards in your deck that are good leveled. You need to be able to have these cards that are under leveled, that are still playing a role, either when you get level screwed or just to have that tool. And I think having a tool like this, even if it doesn't go in your deck, having it in the meta, I think will be important and will shape the meta in interesting ways.
The only downside I see to this card is that the crazy robot dragon deck probably won't ever be a thing. I don't know if you guys saw that spoiler or not, but there's a robot dragon that gets huge stats if every other creature you control is Defender.
Yeah, this card might be bad for that deck, but I'm not sure that deck was ever a reality.
I know.
But someone will try it, right? Like we'll all try it. We'll all throw out our Stasis Warden, our robot dragons, and the new robot that loses Defender when it ranks up, and then somebody's going to play Glacial Crush on us, and we're going to go, okay, let's leave this to the other guys, and we'll play Glacial Crush and then beat them. That's my guess anyway. Maybe we're going to be wrong. All right, let's move on to our last spoiler then. Here we have a legendary, the Solstice Reveler. This is an interesting card that when it ranks up, it gives a buff to all of your creatures. So it's sort of a roar in body form that's less predictable. What do you guys think about this?
So I'm personally like not a big fan of the rank mechanic because I'm not Jake. So I this is not my favorite mechanic, but aside from that, the effects you get here for ranking up are like very powerful. Basically, you get a free roar, or like even better stuff like on the higher levels. And yes, of course, you have to try to get it leveled at first, because like basically you don't. It's not super awesome just if you don't get the effect, but like if you get the effect of the level 3 version, it's gonna be so ridiculous. If you ever have faced a raw level 3 on a somewhat populated board, you know that it's not a good thing to face. So yeah, if this goes off, it's gonna be insane. And so this is a very powerful card. But yeah, I will pass. Pass the mic here.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. The rank mechanic is something that's interesting. I've kind of played around with it. I don't know how good it can be in Constructed, but I have had some drafts where I've just decided to go all in on cards like Runegrove Guardian or something like that, and or like the Avalanche Invoker, and they can really kind of pull their weight if they show up, even if they only show up once. So she definitely is really good, and you want to get her to level 3. But this is the type of card where if you play the game normally for the first couple player levels, and then she shows up under leveled, those extra stats still do count and still help. So I don't know about constructed if this will be really strong, but in draft I could definitely see this being like automatic.
Interesting. I mean, definitely the difference between draft and constructed is removal. And it becomes much more difficult to have a card hang around for any amount of time and have it actually rank up if it has a powerful effect in constructed, because it will just get removed. So I can definitely see how in draft it could be better. But I'm a little bit more in the Hans camp that I don't like to rely on luck. I would much rather have cards that have a higher skill component that allow me to use skill to beat my opponent rather than hoping that I draw cards at the appropriate time. Now, if you do draw at the appropriate time, it could be amazing. And having said that, I'm not saying I won't use it or that it can't be powerful. I think it's really going to depend on the meta, what kind of decks are getting made, and how this can slot into a deck like that. Because if we're already having We're with Patriarch giving out buffs, and you have Roars giving out buffs, do we really need another global buff card that is so specific and so luck-oriented? Or is this card, in connection with the others, just put that whole deck over the top? I mean, that's entirely possible, that you just have this confluence of growing cards that it gets to the point where you're always drawing some sort of global growth card that just becomes overwhelming to your opponent. So I don't really know what to say about the card yet, but I am definitely skeptical in constructed and a little bit open to it in draft.
Yeah, I think when you're evaluating cards like these with like really good effects, sometimes you get so wrapped up in the effect that you don't evaluate the card. So we might think like this effect is really good, but it's very unlikely to hit. But I think its stats are okay. Like 8/8 at level 2 is pretty decent, and 16/16 at level 3 is in my opinion fine. That's right where you want to be, because there are a lot of cards that are 15x. So a 16/16 would trade with a Patriarch level 3 or a Technosmith level 3, even a Forgeblade Sentry level 3. So its stats at level 3 are good enough that if you do get it there, you can just play it, and it's just gravy if the effect goes off, but you don't need it to go off.
You know, it's a really good level 3 stat? 24/24 breakthrough. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how much play this card sees. At least, I guess we should say this. As a legendary, it won't see much play in draft.
Right.
Yes, but like just looking at the art is I mean that is just amazing artwork, and like you need to try playing this card, because it's like who wouldn't want to win with like this dancing girl enraging all your guys to go nuts.
She's already doing the victory dance for you.
Yeah, she is.
All right. You guys want to do a recap at all? Which of the 3 cards do you think will see the most play in constructed, or has the most potential to see play in constructed?
Glacial Crush, in my opinion.
Guy thinks Glacial Crush. Is it just specifically for the anti-gargoyle, or you think there is actually going to be viable defender decks, and you want to have an answer to that?
Basically, I think that it's actually there are enough cards that force your opponent to have defender. So they've previewed a few Tempest cards that give your opponent defender. They've previewed a Tempest card that has defender all the time. That's pretty good, and it already beats Gargoyle. So to me, I feel like the other 2 cards are good, but they might not be constructed good. Whereas this one, you could build a deck around forcing your opponent to have defender, and since it's free at levels 2 and 3, really good.
Yeah. How about Stasis Warden, Static Shock, Urante Bolt, Glacial Crush? And they're free, so we'll just throw 2 of them on there. There we go. That's a turn. How about you, Hans? What do you think is going to see the most play in constructed?
Yeah, I'm torn between Glacial Crush and the Dancing Girl, because I think both have pretty big potential. Yeah. So the meta transfer is, I think, going to be a great card in limited, but is probably not going to make it in constructed. At least, I mean, it's going to be in some decks, but it's not going to be in the very best decks, I think. But yeah, those other two cards, like, of course, it always depends on all the other cards that come out, but those other two seem to have great potential to be in the very good decks.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I could easily see Glacial Crush being in an NT removal deck or any Tempe's removal deck. At least a copy of it. I know I'll be putting in my deck just to start with, just to see what kind of shenanigans people are up to, knowing I have this underleveled Defender Crusher ready to go at a moment's notice. How about for limited play? And I think we should take out, as Hans affectionately calls her, the dancing girl, the Solstice Reveler, since she is legendary. But which card do you think is going to have the most effect in draft format?
For me, I think meta transfer. Glacial Crush would still be good, but you wouldn't want to draft a card hoping that your opponent is going to have defenders. So unless you already had a way to, manipulate Glacial Crush, then I think meta transfer would be better.
I'm not so sure about that because there is like right now drafting robots is like drafting what are those, like the bidders is also already a thing in draft, and it totally like just having some situational answers in your deck is totally okay, and was okay for the Spitter. The Spitter was already a card that you would end up picking when there are like 3 cards or something in the pack, because it's totally okay to have the Spitter as a sideboard card in your deck. And the Crush, the Glacial Crush, it's more powerful than that, I think, in the right situation, in the right matchup. So I think it's gonna end up as one-offs, as a one-off in the limited decks all the time.
Okay, I think for me it's probably meta transfer as well. Especially in draft, I like leveling mechanics. I feel like in constructed, you have a little bit easier time building a deck that does just fine when you don't see your level 2 cards. I feel like in draft, it's much harder to put that together since you have so many cards you're forced to take. And having a card like Meta Transfer will allow you to both reduce the threats they have on the board and get more higher level cards in your deck. So there is less likelihood that you won't be drawing powerful cards when you need them. All right. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for the Metamart Spoiler Extravaganza. I hope you enjoyed the show. So we will see you next time. And make sure you come over to themetamart.com for all kinds of digital card gaming information. And we will see you in the constructed queue for set 2.